Hey guys, welcome to today's DeFiancy Insight and crypto market update. I am super excited about this particular insight, and here's why. It's going to help you develop your investment thesis. What I mean by that, your investment thesis is what you believe and why you believe it. It's what helps you navigate the emotional roller coaster of volatility that any investment can have, especially in crypto. When people get emotional, they typically make buying and selling decisions at the wrong time, which is difficult to make a profitable portfolio out of that. And so your investment thesis is what gives you the confidence to make better decisions. And this video, particularly towards the end, is definitely going to help you develop your market thesis. In today's insight video, you're going to see the overall Bitcoin market structure, because everything tends to kind of follow the market structure of Bitcoin currently. That can change in the future, but for right now, that's a big indicator of what's happening and where that can go. You're going to see that market structure today. You're also going to see information on the top altcoins that are performing well. What are they doing? Why are they performing well? You're going to get some information on that. We're going to take a snapshot of the DeFi market since our last insight video that you got to see. And last but not least, we're going to get into the narrative of Web3. Bitcoin maximalists, which are called maxis a lot, they right now are not happy about Web3. And Web3 people are excited about Web3. What is Web3? Where is it going? Why does this matter? Why is there so much conflict? This is the current narrative, and we're going to see more and more of this as we head into 2022. It is a big topic, and you need to understand it so that you can develop your investment thesis, so you can become confident and make better decisions. So with that being said, make sure that you like this video if you like this kind of this content, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an update. And by the way, at the end of this video, in the description notes underneath this video, there's a link to our Discord. You can join our community and network with other people in the Defiancy network. So with that being said, let's get into today's Defiancy Insight.
What is going on, everybody? It's Andrew from Defiancy. So we're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to start off talking about the Bitcoin market structure, overall market structure, talk about some altcoins that have done well today, and we're going to finish off talking about a little bit of DeFi, but probably more talking about this Jack Dorsey Bitcoin Maxi versus Web3 drama we have going on. But let's start off with this market structure. So Bitcoin has been downtrending, for over a month now, almost 2 months. And, this was kind of expected, to be honest, in terms of if it broke this trend here, this downtrend, that it was going to explode up, at least temporarily. So this is what many people thought would happen if we broke that trend line. And we definitely broke it over the past 24 hours. I think a lot of people think the next stop would be somewhere around here, around 53K-ish, roughly. A good test there. But overall, this looks very bullish to me, and I think we could see a lot of new players entering in at the beginning of the year, new hedge funds, people just getting in. And guess what? For their crypto P&L, which is like their profit to loss ratio, it's a 0.0. So they're going to want to get in the game and start swinging the bat. So I think we could see some explosive moves, quarter one here, hopefully. Not financial advice, obviously. Outside of the charts, let's look at some altcoins that have done well. Some of the winners out of the top 100 by market caps is Near Protocol, which is an L1 blockchain, kind of like Solana. It's a very interesting project. I'm actually interested in getting more Near, to be quite honest. We have another winner like Convex Finance. If you don't know what Convex is, it's very interesting. Basically, the whole point of this Convex Finance protocol is to accumulate as much curve as they can. And I'm not going to go into details, but that's what this Convex Finance is all about. It's basically a protocol that eats the curve tokens that are distributed. And there's some advantages to that from a DeFi perspective. We have SushiSwap, which has had such a rough last couple months with, I'm trying to think of the guy's name, but the CTO who was really running running the protocol in terms of leadership ended up leaving. So this is good to see. And I have heard a rumor that SushiSwap may be merging with Bancor, which is another DEX. So that's really interesting. We have Sandbox, Aave, Internet Computer, Uniswap, Gala Games. all winners. And look, I don't think there's a whole lot of losers here. I mean, we have Bitcoin Cash that has dropped. But other than that, not a lot of losers here. Not a lot of losers. This is what we love to see. Let's move on to DeFi. So DeFi, since the last video has actually erupted, relatively speaking. We're up about, 15 billion by total value locked since the last video. This is expected. Look, downtrend, just like kind of like how the Bitcoin chart looks. The DeFi TVL, I mean, it follows just the overall market structure in many ways. So with Bitcoin bouncing, with alts bouncing, obviously, the TVL lock in DeFi, at least on the top of Ethereum, is going to bounce, and that's what we have here. Same situation. Maker still leading the pack here with almost getting close to 20 billion. They're at 19 billion total value locked. Curve 14, almost 15 billion total value locked, and then we have Aave a little bit over 12 billion. So this is what we love to see. Maker is just dominating right now with 18.7% dominance, and this is a metric I think will change over time, but we'll see. Okay, so now that we have this out of the way, I was going to talk about NFTs, but I'm going to actually make a more detailed video about some of my thoughts on NFTs in another video. But I want to jump into something that's very interesting to me right now, and this has a lot to do with Jack Dorsey. And if you don't know who this is, I'm sure you probably do, but if you don't know who this is the, hold on, let me get rid of this crap here. Oh God, what am I doing? Okay, we'll just leave it. So Jack Dorsey is the CEO of Twitter, or was the CEO of Twitter. He actually walked away a couple of weeks ago. And the reason I'm mentioning that is I think it emboldened him to actually speak his voice on his opinions, right? Just speak his mind, I should say, on things he thinks about Web3 and Bitcoin and all this. And before I get into Jack Dorsey and his comments recently on Web3, I want to mention something that I haven't really made too many videos on, and that as I really believe that we are headed to like a crypto civil war. We kind of already are in one. Bitcoin maxis do not benefit from Ethereum scaling. Okay, Bitcoin does not really benefit necessarily from Ethereum and other L1 scaling. Now, technically, it can, because you can wrap Bitcoin and it can become more usable, productive, right? Earning yield on it, borrowing against it, and stuff like that. But in reality, it's a lot more beneficial for Bitcoin if it is the base layer. And I think a lot of maxis, Bitcoin maxis, are starting to see Ethereum as a serious threat here in terms of it being the global settlement layer, which is what they want. So this is not really surprising in the sense that this should be expected, that you will have maxis that are very interested in not seeing Ethereum become this global settlement layer with USDC. I think over the course of the last year, something like $5 trillion or $4 trillion settled on Ethereum. These are really big numbers here. Bitcoin is not getting even close to that in terms of, at least, well, you can't have a stable coin on Bitcoin, so I shouldn't even compare the two. Anyway, so Ethereum, or Ether, the token, is a threat to Bitcoin. Okay, and I don't really think that this is an opinion, really. I mean, it's an opinion, but I think there's so much evidence that to deny this is just kind of silly. Before EIP 1559 was a thing, it made sense to me to look at ETH as anything but a store of value, because its economic model, it was just going to keep inflating, right? It didn't have anything built in place to make sure that it doesn't inflate itself down over time, right? That's, so many people did not want to buy ETH because of that, because it didn't have a fixed amount of hard cap, right? Well, with EIP 1559, assuming enough of the ETH that's in circulation is staked, and assuming that there's a certain amount of transactions happening per period of time, it will be deflationary. So at this point, if you believe that ETH is going to continue to be used and traffic will just continue, and that people are going to want to stake their ETH and ETH 2.0, then it's probably going to be deflationary. Now, let me mention that it isn't guaranteed to be deflationary. There has to be certain inputs to the system that are met. I just named them. It's transactions per second, or transactions per period of time, and the amount of ETH staked. I just happen to believe that both of those requirements will be fulfilled pretty easily. Okay, and we've already seen ETH go deflationary without ETH 2.0. Like, I think it was the end of October. There was a week where ETH was actually deflationary. I think we had a lot of NFTs going off and stuff like that. But if we're getting deflationary ETH without ETH 2.0, just think about how much easier it's going to be with ETH 2.0, because the amount of ETH released is cut by 3. That's why they call it the triple halving. Okay, instead of it being cut by 2, divided by 2, you have to divide it by 3. Hence triple halving. So I think Bitcoin maxis, if they do their homework, they're going to feel threatened by this, and they should. Now, it doesn't mean that in the long term we can't coexist, but it's just going to be very difficult, I think, when people realize that it is kind of, the store of value market for Bitcoin is very important. And if they lose that edge, if they're not considered the obvious dominant store of value, that's a problem to them. So this is why I think you are seeing Jack Dorsey say things like this. Look, I understand what he's trying to say, but we're going to go through his statements here. So, number one, Jack Dorsey has been a Bitcoin maxi for a very long time. He's never given Ethereum or Web3 the light of day. His criticism on Twitter, in a nutshell, is basically saying that the VCs are controlling Web3, meaning the DeFi protocols, a lot of the, and including the networks, the network layer, the infrastructure layer that supports the application layer. He's saying that it is controlled by VCs, and to a certain extent, he is correct. Okay, to a certain extent, but Ethereum is not one of those. Did Solana have a big pre-sale, right, where a lot of VCs got in? Yes. Did Avalanche? Yes. Did other ones? Yes. Is that a problem necessarily? No. I can actually go into why I don't think that's that big of a deal. But he's putting everybody in the same basket. He's putting all of Web3 in the same basket. It's ridiculous, I think. And I think he's going to change his mind on this. But in terms of the protocol or the application layer tokens, so the DeFi governance tokens, for instance, yes, they're kind of centralized. So pretty much all the same big investment firms and crypto kind of all own, a little bit of Uniswap, a little bit of Avalanche, a little bit of whatever, right? These portfolios are pretty typical. But guess what? That's capitalism. So they're risking capital. Okay, they're the ones. Their capital is the reason why we're able to have development that speeds up, right? To have all of these grants for people to make their dreams come true. It came from these VCs. He's treating these VCs like they're evil, and it is absolutely disgusting considering this guy comes from Web 2 VCs, which are so much worse. Okay, I mean, it's kind of a joke when you look at VCs and Web 3 versus Web 2. Okay, I don't think that's really that strong of an opinion. I think he's out of line here. I do like Jack Dorsey, and I hope he comes around. But I think him saying that because these VCs own these tokens, that it's going to be a problem is ridiculous. Because number one, over time, we're going to go into bear markets. They're going to have to take profits. These tokens are going to become more. There's going to be more token holders, and it's going to disperse, much like Bitcoin did. Bitcoin at the very beginning was very centralized as well in terms of who held the tokens. Okay, but over time, people need to sell. People need to take profits. The VCs are not going to hold these governance tokens forever. They're not going to hold all of these assets forever. They have to take profit. So over time, it will become more dispersed. Okay, and I think that if we're using this as the number one reason to not, promote Web3 and try to build a truly decentralized internet, including social media and including all sorts of things like, particularly like decentralized hosting, decentralized Wi-Fi, that's all Web3. Okay. And if he thinks that, we should not be trying to build a truly decentralized internet and only focus on Bitcoin right now, That's a really poor way to think, because most of the innovation is outside of Bitcoin. Okay, what does this mean going forward? Okay, I'm going to get off the Jack Dorsey thing. Where I think we go from here is we now have a political divide in crypto. We've had it. You have the party, you have the religious party of Bitcoin, okay, the political / religion of Bitcoin, and the political party of Ethereum / Web3, right? And they're like political parties now, and they both, to be honest, I don't think Ethereum is really threatened by Bitcoin at all. I think Bitcoin is just threatened by Ethereum. But I'm fairly, I would say, confident that people like Michael Saylor probably have a vested interest to ensure that Bitcoin stays #1 market cap. He has a big bag on the line, and there are other Bitcoin maxis I think that would at least consider lobbying in Washington to ensure that laws favor Bitcoin. Gary Gensler is not anti-Bitcoin, but does seem to be anti-Web3, because guess why? In my opinion, Web3 is disruptive to the status quo. Web3 is disruptive to the existing infrastructure, the existing socioeconomic systems, like Twitter, like Facebook, okay, like the banking system, like the education system, like every system. Web3 has the potential, not saying it's going to disrupt everything, but it has the potential to disrupt a lot of this. So of course, I think they're going to try to leverage that. The Bitcoin people can probably build an alliance with these people because Bitcoin is not threatening to them. Okay. And I think going forward, you are probably going to see a lot of this. Anyway, I've rambled enough about this. I think this is just a battle for the minds for the most part, influence. But at some point, look, NFTs, DAOs, these things are just too disruptive and powerful. Web3 wins. It's just a matter of time. A lot of the naysayers, by the way, against Web3 remind me of people talking about Bitcoin in 2015, 2017. That's what it reminds me of. But anywho, we're gonna finish here. Look, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. We're gonna be making more of them. I feel like we're getting better at each of them. Yeah, that's pretty much all we got, guys. Until the next video, happy hunting, friends, and Merry Christmas.